morning, everyone. Rise and shine. Thank you for joining us on this early and hot first Friday of August. I'm Ellen Hurst, and we have another great show lined up for you today. And if you missed any of the other ones, you can always go back on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple, YouTube, local cable, and on WERC TV 24 Facebook page as well. Today we have a special guest. We have Tracy Cieniewicz. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay, Director of the Alabama Lifespan Respite with UCP Huntsville. And welcome, Tracy. Thank you so much for coming today. I know you came all the way from Huntsville, but you cover the whole state, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and don't let, sometimes names can be deceiving, so don't let UCP confuse you, because she's going to tell you about all the things that you guys do, and it's not just several, I mean, it's just, you're just so happy to be connected with UCP Huntsville, right? So I have worked with caregivers for almost 25 years. Don't tell anyone, I'm 20.
You started when you were 10.
Yeah,
that's right.
So, yeah, May will be 25 years. It's hard to believe. Wow. And everyone knows that they need a break, but they don't always admit to it, or I can't take care of my mom, and nobody can take care of my mom like I can take care of my mom and everything, but they do not know the correct term of what a break is. So let's start with that. What is respite? Tell everybody what respite is.
Sure. So respite is just a break. It's just a break, and when we talk about it, it's a break from your full-time caregiving duty.
Right.
So, and a lot of times people don't even identify as a caregiver. They say, well, that's my wife, that's my dad, that's my child.
Right.
I'm just their family member. Well, you're their family caregiver if you're doing that full-time unpaid care for them.
Right, and I tell grandparents that too, because we work with grandparents raising grandkids too. So I tell them they're like, no, they're my grandkids. I'm raising them. You're their caregiver.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're taking care of someone, whether it's your wife, like you said, it doesn't matter if it's family or whatever, you're still a caregiver, and you can't do it all. And lots of times, I mean, people, not lots of times, 99% of the time, people that are caregivers let themselves go.
They do.
And they don't take care of themselves. And I always try to, my team, we always try to preach to everyone that if you don't take care of you, who's going to take care of them? So you've got to take care of you too. So why is respite so important?
So we always, say, use the analogy of, in an airplane, they say when the oxygen mask drops, take it first before you help the person next to you, because you can't help them if you don't help yourself.
Right.
So respite's the oxygen mask, and the reason you need to do that is to prevent stress, burnout, fatigue, possible abuse and neglect of your loved one.
That's so graphic. Tells you a little bit more about it.
And a lot of times premature out-of-home placement. We know that everyone wants to be at home as long as possible, and if the caregiver gets burned out, or they don't take care of their own health, and they get sick and down where they can't take care of their loved one, then that individual may have to go to long-term care sooner than they had anticipated.
Right.
And we don't want that to happen, so we want the caregiver to learn how to take care of themselves so they can take care of their loved one.
And I'm a firm believer too, we tell our caregivers, sometimes you have to preach to them, you know what I mean? You really do, because some of our caregivers, we tell them, hey, because by the time somebody comes to you or comes to our program, they probably should have came to us, 3 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm a firm believer that, I get it that you can only take care of your mom as best as you can take care of your mom. But if somebody from church, your sister, your brother, whoever says, hey, if you need me, call me, do it.
Take them up on it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, if they're offering, they have to be sincere and take them up on it. It's going to help everyone. It's going to make them feel useful.
And I also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've had caregivers that tell me too, by the time they come to us and they get that break in the home where we put somebody in there, like, I should have done this a long time ago, because my dad's probably sick of listening to me and talking to me or seeing me every morning drinking coffee. It's a break, because it's a break for them too, really. I mean, the respite is a break from their own family member. I mean, really.
Yeah.
And because, we're social beings, and sometimes when someone is homebound and that's the only, and I had to practice what I preach too, because I was my mom's caregiver. But when somebody is a caregiver, you know, and you're taking care of someone, that person at home has all day long to think about what's bothering them. So who catches it first?
Yeah.
The caregiver, because you're the one that's there. But you can't take it personal, and it's hard not to take personal.
It is.
That's why respite is so important.
It really is. My brother, he had a condition where he was needed care for about a year, and my sister-in-law and my mother were his primary caregivers, and I would come in and provide respite for them. And he was so glad just to see a different face and be able to get to tattle on them a little bit.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But it's so true, and it's so sad that caregivers don't realize that they do need a break, or that it's okay. It's okay to have a break, and it's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to feel angry. It's all those emotions, because you're a human.
It's natural.
It's very natural, because a lot of your caregivers are giving up their life to take care of that person that's needing taken care of.
That's right. They may have to stop working. They may miss out on kids and grandkids ball games and recitals and church and visiting friends, you know, sleeping through the night. You know, there's a lot that they do give up physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, spiritually when they become full-time caregiver. It is.
A lot. So guys, if you learn anything, you got to take care of yourself, because you're not going to be worth 10 cents for the person you're taking care of, right?
That's right.
So now that everybody knows what respite is and a break and how important it is, what is Alabama Lifespan Respite? What is it that you do? And I mean, I know that we contract with you guys, but we're not going to talk about that today, because that's a whole other show. But the program that you have yourself. So what is Alabama Lifespan Respite? If you had to explain to someone who doesn't even know what it is, what would you say to them?
So first and foremost, we are a statewide program of UCP Huntsville, and a lot of people do get hung up on the fact that we are, you know, a program of UCP Huntsville, and UCP stands for United Cerebral Palsy. UCP, we do not only serve individuals with cerebral palsy. Our clients represent almost 200 diagnoses in addition to cerebral palsy.
Right.
But we've been around since 1963 and have grown and added programs, and Alabama Lifespan Respite is one of those programs that started in the year 2000. So we're celebrating our 25th year this year, so we're really excited about that.
I'm celebrating my anniversary with you guys, because I started working with the Alabama Cares program in 2000. 2001. So you guys were just new, getting on board with the state and everything when I came on. So we've all grown a lot.
And I know. When we first started out, we were basically gathering resources from lots of different state agencies to see where the needs were for caregivers across the state. And what that developed into is today we're able to offer respite breaks through a little bit of financial assistance for caregivers. We're also able to offer a lot of caregiver education and resources. We have
all those services.
All these services up here, and it's very robust, and we try not to just give the caregiver a break. We try to support them throughout their caregiving journey by offering them education and resources, mental health counseling, support groups, just lots of different things that can help them in different ways along the way.
Right. And lots of times when you're a caregiver, I know that we run into this all the time. I have since day one that I started working in my program, that you know, it's like education. You said education is key, I feel, and that's why we're here today and every Friday to bring you guys in TV land out there, to bring you guys education services and, you know, resources to our communities, to let you know what's out there, because I feel like, you know, anytime you don't understand something, you get there's frustration comes with that, and anger and all these things. And I always use the analogy of math, because I am not a math person. I'll write you a paper all day long. But you know, and when you don't understand something, you get frustrated. And same way with caregivers, you know, because a lot of times, well, more so than not, caregivers are sent home with their patient.
And with no resources.
Okay, you know, they're going to be home, and they have dementia, Alzheimer's, cancer, they're a stroke patient, they had heart issues, whatever the diagnosis is, right?
And there's no instruction book.
There's no instruction book. You know, you can Google a lot of things, but that's not really going to tell you anything either. And so these people go home and they are just left with, they have no clue what's going on. And when you don't understand something, that leads to frustration. And that's why I think it's so important for Alabama Lifespan Respite, Alabama Cares, for all these places, for all of us to offer education when we know the doctor's too busy to provide that, and to have support groups. That's wonderful that you guys do that too.
It is. We did those virtually once a month, and Jenny Stang, she's our community outreach coordinator, and she's a licensed master's level social worker, and she's fabulous, and she lets the caregivers dictate what they're going to talk about each time.
Right.
So it could be a heavy topic, or they sometimes play bingo.
Right.
You know, it's just
or
whatever.
Just have a binning session or something like that. Yeah, because I think support groups are very vital too for caregivers, because you don't have to talk, and we offer support groups through True Alta as well, and well, that's where we usually steer people, but I feel I'm very positive about the support groups, because I feel like you're not the only one in the boat, and you can feel that when you're in a support group, because you're like, oh, well, they're going through that too, or and it makes you feel a little bit better that you're not the only sole person in the universe that's having to deal with all that, and to hear other people about what they're doing that works for them, or what they've heard, getting an expert opinion like your social worker or anybody else, that's huge.
It really is, and it also fosters those natural supports, because we have a lot of caregivers who, we might have one who lives in Anniston and one in Mobile, and they connect together because they found out they had something to in common.
And people in the rural areas, that's one of the big, and that's why I love online support groups so much. There's several reasons why I like it. One is because the rural areas, it's hard to find because of COVID. COVID killed a lot of our things. But not only that, it's hard for a caregiver to get out.
It is.
And when you can't leave that person that you're taking care of, it's so much better to be able to go online, and like I said, you can hide yourself. You don't have to put your webcam on. But and I think that, do you guys have where you can have a call-in option as well?
We do. We have call-in option, and it's the same with our caregiver education. And talking about getting away. Even if you choose to have a caregiver or a respite provider come in and stay with your loved one while you participate in that caregiver education, we have stipends available to help pay for that.
Oh, okay. So there's some education that's online and on site as well. So, well, we're going to hold that thought.
Okay. We're
going to talk some more about that. Okay. But we are going to take a small break for a word from our supporters, and you are watching WEARC TV 24. I'm sorry, WEAC TV 24 Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program, and we will be right back.
I want to live. The leading cause of death of young Americans like me is gun violence, and oftentimes tied to substance misuse. NBA, NFL, NCAA, most of you look like me, and our communities need you now more than ever. Let's make I want to live more than just a hashtag. Let's make it a movement. I am a baller against bullets.
I'm Alan Parnell with Parnell Insurance Agency. We've been here in Oxford and Alabama, Tallapoosa, Georgia since 1990. With Auto Owners Insurance, we're able to give customers competitive pricing along with excellent coverages. Parnell Insurance can handle all of your personal, commercial, and life insurance needs. We have a very experienced staff, both personal and commercial. All together, we've got about 125 years experience. Come see what our insurance agency can do for you in Oxford, Alabama, and Tallapoosa, Georgia.
Auto Owners Insurance.
Hey guys, this is Blair Smith at Pediatrics Plus here in Anniston, located on Henry Road. I'm over here on the well side, but we do also have a sick side urgent care if you need us. We are more than happy to see you guys. Just come on, check us out if you get a fever, cough, or cold, or want to come in for a good checkup. Thank you.
Backus Bibles and Books is dedicated to providing churches as well as individuals with products and services geared towards strengthening every relationship with Christ. We specialize in Bibles, Bible imprints, Bible restoration, church supplies, home decor, gifts, and apparel. Call us at 256-201-1202 or visit us Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 1100 Highway Drive in Oxford, Alabama. We look forward to serving you, equipping the people of God to expand the kingdom of God.
Welcome back, everyone. You are watching Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program on this hot first Friday in August. It is August, right? I mean,
It is.
It's supposed to be the hottest. I mean, it's been feeling like 108 like
Yes.
every day this week.
Every day.
It's awful. So I'm here with Tracy with Alabama Lifespan Respite with UCP of Huntsville, and she's been talking about what is Lifespan Respite, what kind of services they provide, and for whom they provide. So you said, again, we'll tell them it's not just for UCP patients, it's for everything.
That's right.
You said over 200 diagnoses, so there's a lot of people that can benefit from this. Is there an age limit with you guys?
There is not. We truly serve the lifespan, so birth through end of life.
Hence
And
lifespan respite.
that's
what makes
right.
it. It's the first time I've ever realized that, and I've been knowing this program for how long? That would make sense. So, so during your lifespan, so it's doesn't matter what age.
Correct. And a lot of people too think we serve the care recipient only, and our program serves the caregiver.
Just like our,
Yeah.
And it's very confusing to
It
people
is.
sometimes. So it's not the patient per se, it's the caregiver to help them with burnout, to help them get a break in the home,
Yeah.
which in return helps the patient.
Yes.
That's like you said.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just want to tell on their caregiver to somebody and vent as well. So you both need a break, not just the caregiver.
Yeah.
So, and we talked a little bit about what services that you guys provide. So you said you provide a break for them. Do you ever receive feedback about the benefits of respite from family caregivers? Once they, and we'll get into more about that a little bit later, but
we absolutely do. We send out surveys biannually. We serve several different programs through our program, and so biannually we send out surveys and just ask all the caregivers, has this helped, and if so, how? And we always get positive feedback, and like you said, some people write and say, I didn't know how badly I needed this break.
Oh yes.
Or how or they say, my life has improved so much because of X, Y, and Z. I can visit my friends, I can go to my grandchild's ball game, or I just feel more relaxed, I'm less stressed.
Right. And we tell our caregivers, when we give respite to our caregivers, we tell them, hey, this is for you to get out of the house during that small period of time, or if you just want to lock the door and let Calgon take you away, right? For you younger people, that's the bubble bath. You might not know what that means, but we've even given respite to people that a gentleman who was taking care of his wife, that he just wanted to have time so he could, as he called it in his terms, piddle in his garden, right?
Yes.
So because that was his thing, that was his joy, that was what brought him peace, and he loved to grow things, and he loved to have his tomatoes and his pepper plants and all these things, and he loved that, and he provided for his little neighbors around and his church and everything, and so we had someone go in there to actually just sit with her while he was, and he felt more at ease being outside, cutting the grass, pulling the weeds in his gardening, doing all the things, so he didn't have to worry about her being on the inside and needing something, or if she fell, or all those kind of things. So
That's right. And
there's different reasons why you'd want a break.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just as simple as going to your own doctor's appointments,
Right.
or getting your hair done, or going to a church service, something.
Go and have coffee with your sister at Waffle House.
Yeah,
Right?
it can look like anything that gives you peace and gives you a break.
Anything that gives you a break, definitely. And I know some of our caregivers, because we are in the South, we have churches everywhere.
Yep.
And I know that some folks, they want that break because they say, my soul needs to be fed. I got to go back to church, and so that's so important in so many people's lives.
It
And
is.
when that person that they're taking care of can't go, and I know that we have online now, which is fantastic.
It
I
is.
know my mother-in-law and father-in-law used that with my mother-in-law before she passed away, and that was very good because he's a minister, and that's good. But sometimes you just have to be around people,
Do.
and you have to be there to make you feel normal again.
That's right.
To feel like a human.
Yes.
Yeah, because you feel like you're just like you're just in this, the
bubble.
walls are closing in and you start getting cabin fever. I know a lot of our caregivers have done that.
The isolation can be just overwhelming for a lot of people.
So what are some of the things that, you said that you guys give them a break and all that, and so how does that work? How does that, how, if somebody is saying, hey, I'm a caregiver, I might need a break, I might need to call her.
Yeah.
How does one, we said there was no age limit, you
Right.
said that, so how does one become, how does someone, I guess, have
Enroll.
access to those services and that actually can enroll?
Yeah. So we have a really simple application process, and you can go online to alabamalifespanrespite.org and click on apply. It's at the very top of the page, and the application packet's there. But basically, if you are a caregiver, a full-time unpaid family caregiver, and we qualify that as 40 hours a week, and if you are not currently receiving respite specific assistance from another agency, so that might, like Ellen's,
like the Alabama Cares program.
That's right. So, or it might be through the VA or Medicaid waiver, and it would be that home and community-based services.
It's kind of like ours is too,
Yeah.
because if you're on Medicaid waiver with our program, or you're receiving other respite, then we can't justify giving you respite if you're already getting respite, if that makes sense.
Yes, so we
so
try
kind
to
of the same thing.
Yeah, we try to fill the gap. We give you, where no respite exists. That's we try to
Right.
provide some. So once you enroll, there is no income limit. There are no financial requirements,
Okay.
anything like that. But you fill out the application, and then you submit a proof of diagnosis for your loved one. And it can just be something simple on letterhead from your doctor, home health, hospice, just stating their name, date of birth, and their diagnosis. And when you get that turned into us by email or mail, whatever's most convenient for you, then we let you know within, we always say 2 weeks in case something happens with the mail or there's an ice storm, but it typically never takes that long. And then we let you know that you're enrolled in the program. We get you started, and what will happen is we send you what we call a timesheet, and it'll have dates to be used on it and an award amount. So for example, it might say from January 1st to March 31st you have $300 to utilize for respite.
Right.
And so at that point you can hire anyone over the age of 18 who lives outside of your home to give you a break.
So it could be your granddaughter down the road. It could be a nurse that that's retired. It could be a church member or next door neighbor, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anybody. And the graphic up here shows all the that, and it's so just to let, I guess, the audience know, you can't. It's not that you're going to give them money beforehand. So what this is reimbursement. I know that a lot of times, especially if you hire a family, they'll wait for that reimbursement or whatever. So that's the good point of it too.
It is.
Because a lot of people are on fixed incomes or whatever, but it allows them to, like you said, and it's accountability too, because you have a sheet that you have to turn in, right?
Yeah, and it's real easy to keep up with. It just says on this date, for this many hours, this rate of pay, this individual gave me a break. Or it can be community respite in the program, like at a day program or church-based respite. And we have a database online by county of all those community-based opportunities that we know of.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they're usually low cost. If there's a cost at all, they're usually low cost,
Right.
but you can use your respite funds for that. And a lot of times for kiddos, there's opportunities like special needs dance classes or a camp for individuals with special needs or therapeutic horseback riding. You can use the funds for that too. Just whatever
Right.
it looks like for you to be able to take a break.
And with an individual, I think it's very important for the audience to know, with an individual, if you hire an individual, and correct me if I'm wrong, so if you hire the next door neighbor, the granddaughter, or your friend's friend, or whoever it is that you hire, you set
The rate.
the rate.
Yep. You do. So
Right.
y'all negotiate that, between the two of you, and decide, what can you afford and what what they
And
will
then you also
accept.
know, hey, and so what is the, I guess, what's the limit for how much they can get for reimbursement?
For the award that we give them, it depends. We are grant funded. We are a nonprofit, and we're grant funded. So what we do is we take the grant funds available to us every quarter, and we divide them evenly among the number of participants on the program. We do usually depend on how much grant funding we anticipate getting. We're able to set caps, but typically $250 a quarter would be typical. Sometimes it's more, but about $250. So if you're paying somebody $10 an hour to stay with your loved one, that's a little over 20 hours of a break.
Right.
And so it doesn't sound like a lot, but if that's enough to go to your doctor's appointments, get your hair done, go to church a couple of times.
They don't have to stay all day.
No.
They could just be there for 3 hours while you go do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important, because you know how much money you're going to get for reimbursement.
Yeah.
So you can set how much you're going to pay an hour or two. And then, of course, that person would have to agree to it.
I would say an average rate that we see right now is about $12 an hour for unskilled care. So that's your neighbor, your friend.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And that's not bad at all, because, if you were to go out and hire someone outside of that, it would be a whole lot more anyway.
It would, and you can use this for agency care, but you're looking more into that $25 and up per hour rate.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a lot.
It is.
Especially when you're on a budget.
Yeah.
So you get those, and so when somebody gets those for, and I'm assuming it's for a fiscal year. So when they get that for the fiscal year, can they reapply for the next year, or
Yes.
is it a one-time you're done?
You can re-enroll, and what we do is at the end of the fiscal year, we send out a re-enrollment form, either by mail or email, however you choose for us to contact you, and you just fill it out, send it back to us, and it just verifies that all the information's the same, or if you've had a change of address or something like that, it just lets us know.
And they have to get a new letter from their doctor, or no?
Nope,
Okay.
they don't. They can continue on. A lot of it's trust-based, but yeah, it can continue on until you get on a more permanent program, or the care recipient's no longer in your home.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because sometimes, you can only do so much, and sometimes it's best when, we have that talk a lot with our caregivers.
Yeah.
You have to think about safety for not only them but yourself as well. And so sometimes there comes a point when you have to put that loved one in a full care facility.
Yeah.
And it's not that you're being a bad caregiver.
No.
It's actually you're being a good one, because you're actually saying, okay, I can't do this on my own.
That's right.
Because we've had caregivers that had been out of the house in like 12, 14 days. When that person got out of the hospital, that's when you might need a break.
Yes.
Just to let you know.
Absolutely.
So we are going to take another break for a word from our supporters, and don't go anywhere, because you are watching WEAC TV 24 Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program. We'll be right back.
The weather is warming up and spring is just around the corner at Miller Sand and Landscape Supply. I'm Craig Miller, and we've got something for everyone. From bulk materials like sand, gravel, and mulch to beautiful outdoor decor to make your outdoor living space the envy of the neighborhood. See our beautiful selection of Mazzarelli fountains, flowers to brighten your garden, and an outdoor center loaded with beautiful decor. Whether you need a little or a lot, visit Miller Sand and Landscape Supply.
Hey, this is Jason at Reeves Insurance. Just want to say a quick thank you to all of our customers for your support over the years. We now have offices in Anniston, Alexandria, and Oxford in order to serve you better. So stop in and see me or any of our experienced staff and let us shop for you to find you the best price and the best coverage available. Thank you.
The Civilian Marksmanship Program, also known as CMP, is a national organization dedicated to training and educating U.S. citizens in responsible uses of firearms and air guns through gun safety training, marksmanship training, and competitions. Their vision is to lead the nation in marksmanship excellence, providing safe, high-quality, and innovative programs with a focus on youth. For more information about the CMP and upcoming events, visit thecmp.org.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to WEAC TV 24 Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program. I have Miss Tracy with us with Alabama Lifespan Respite with the Huntsville UCP. You're like us. We have East Alabama Regional Planning and Development Commission, which is EARPDC, and then we have Alabama Cares, because CARES stands for something too.
Yeah.
So we're just all about those acronyms.
We are. We love them.
So we've been talking about all the things about respite care, and respite care means that you need a break in the home, just a break period, when you're taking care of someone. And during the break, you and I both were talking about people that we knew of that had just their whole life was consumed with being a caregiver, which is not that, I mean, we're thankful for caregivers.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. You guys rock.
Yeah.
But you also need to know to take care of yourself, and that's why respite is so important, because you and I both were talking about people that we knew in the past, or whatever, like especially been on my program, and that, you know, they just let themselves go, and then they have health issues, and it's just, you know, it's so sad because, you know, they feel. And there, you know, depression comes with that, isolation comes with that, all these things. So, which I think is a very good moment right now to head into. What is caregiver education, and why is it so important?
So caregiver education focuses a lot on the things that we were talking about, like caregiver resentment and anger, feelings you might not feel comfortable expressing, telling people that you have.
Very normal though in the world of caregiving.
Yes, but the education piece normalizes it and teaches you how to deal with it, you know, in a positive way. Our education, again, Jenny Stain does that for us, and she has about 45 different topics curated in her library right now. But it's everything from diagnosis-specific education about Alzheimer's and related dementias, what else? Autism,
boundaries,
stroke, lots of, you know, specific things. And then we also have anticipatory grief, which is a very real thing for caregivers.
Right.
You know, you know, a lot of times caregivers are constantly afraid of what if when this happens, what then? Who will I be when I'm not a caregiver? So this kind of helps you prepare for that.
Right. And I, you know, this happened to me, and I don't know, because I guess that's why I love my job, caregivers, because I was a caregiver myself. So it's near and dear to my heart. So I remember when my mother passed away, I didn't realize what all I did.
Yeah.
And I didn't live with my mom, but I did so much and went to her house every day. And, you know, I lived in one county, she lived in another, you know, I worked in the county where she lived in, but it was a lot, and then I never realized what I did really until she had passed away, and I thought, wow, what am I going to do with all this time I have on my hands now? Because I had to relearn how to live for me, you know, and I'm sure that so many of our caregivers have to do that as well. And, you know, you hit the nail on the head about resentment and anger and all these issues. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to a caregiver that said, well, I've just given up my life, and they're just ungrateful, and, you know, they have all these feelings, and they don't understand dementia, and it's very hard not to take it personal, because you're with that person 24/7 just about. So, you know, having to teach caregivers that it's the disease, it's not the person, to separate that, you can't take it personal. Even though it's hard,
it is.
You know, but I think that's another reason why education is so important, is to give them those tools to empower themselves to say, okay, this is not meant for me. She really didn't mean that. If she was, you know, if she had she not had dementia or whatever is going on.
Yeah, and two, you know, a lot of times, like there'll be multiple siblings in a family, but one.
Oh, you're not telling me? Yes, ma'am. I always say, and correct me if I'm wrong. See if you ran across this too. And this is so sad, guys. I always say, and I've been doing this 25 years. There are 3 different kinds of caregivers that I have come across. Either it is an only child, and they do everything.
Everything.
Because they're the only child, right? And then you have the caregiver who has 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 10 siblings, but that one is the only one that does everything because they're like, it's not broke, don't fix it, you're doing a great job.
Yep.
And then, you know, everything's put on them.
Yes, everything.
And a very minuscule, small percentage, and I am not kidding, probably about 2% of all of our caregivers actually have siblings that rotate and have a schedule and all
it's
that.
rare.
It's very rare, very rare. And most of your caregivers, I would say about the same way, about 97, 98% of all your caregivers are female.
Oh yes, absolutely.
You know, you have those wonderful husbands that take care of their wives. My father-in-law was precious. He was one of those, but it's very rare that you see. I mean, most of the time, it's even like a daughter-in-law or a mother-in-law, like it's an in-law kind of relationship because they're the woman, so that's a woman thing.
Yeah, it's their role.
Right, it's their role. So that you know, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to change my mom or my wife, or I don't want to do this, or I don't.
Bathe and
because I'm the man, kind of thing. So, but it's just, you know, and it's in the South.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a Southern, I think it's a very Southern thing, because I've noticed that ever since I started working in it.
And I will say, too, the very small population of male caregivers that we serve through Alabama Lifespan Respite, but those that we do, I would say they are more assertive than the female caregivers that they, you know, well, why isn't there a program to help with this? Why,
yes,
you know,
they
like,
are.
They want to know where the resources are and why don't we have them.
Because a man has to fix everything.
Yes, exactly.
Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, guys. I have a husband, I know this. Men want to fix things.
Do. And that's okay.
That's in their personality. And that's a wonderful thing, though, because that makes them a better resource seeker for the person that they're taking care of. So what is the Caregiver Wellness Initiative? It's CWI, is that what you call it? Another acronym?
Yeah, another acronym. So
how did it begin and how has it evolved? Tell us about that.
So back to the pandemic, you know, there are good things that happened during that time, and this is one of those things when we weren't able to come into the office and everyone was at home and those caregivers were feeling even more isolated than normal. We just started calling them, and we called over 800 caregivers on the program and just said, how are you doing? You know, and we talked to that many. We called more, but that many talked back that responded. And they told us how they were doing, and they were very candid, and that intense isolation really got to a lot of them. And they said, you know, I just need to talk to somebody that doesn't live in this house. I need an outlet. And so we immediately started what we call care chats, and we had multiple social workers on our team at that point. And so they were able to call and just do 30-minute, you tell us anything you want to tell us. Get off your chest. You can talk about the weather if you want to, but whatever it is
your
that makes you, anything. Vent.
Yes.
And we started those during the pandemic, and that went really well, and it was a great outlet. But we saw there was a need, even still, for caregivers who were in mental health crisis. And so what we did, we started grant seeking, and we found funds to be able to let them partake in mental health counseling, and it was through a stipend program, so they could choose their provider and get 3 counseling sessions to kind of stabilize the mental health crisis, and then if they needed more, if they agreed with the counselor that they needed more, then they could have 3 more. And it went really well. We have emergency respite available, so if you're having a medical crisis or a mental health crisis, or you know, a few other type situations, but we were seeing an increase in those requests for emergency respite just for mental health crisis. Those decreased by 98% once we started offering the counseling service.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So that has evolved into now we have a full-time counselor on staff. And her name is Kendra Tatum, and she's wonderful. So we're still able to offer free counseling, but it's not just for mental health crisis now. It's for just if you need counseling, need to talk to someone, you can go online, fill out a form on there, and she'll get in touch with you and see if.
And I can only imagine, you know, if you're a caregiver, especially if you're taking care of someone, guys, who has a cognitive issue, and I bet those were the ones that felt the most isolated, because you're talking to someone and they're still there. I mean, and you still treat them, I mean, with respect and dignity and all those things, because I'm a huge advocate for that. but as a person, like I said, we're social beings.
Yes.
So as a person, if you're just isolated with that one person who can't really have a two-way conversation with you, that would be very difficult.
Yeah, and if they've lost their routine, a lot of times they're so routine-based, and they've lost their routine of going to a day program or whatever that looks like, or school or whatever that looks like for them, then that, throws an extra element of stress into the situation.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So Alabama Lifespan Respite, how do you work with communities to expand opportunities of respite?
Well, we're always available to do what we call technical assistance. So if you're looking to start up a respite program in your community, maybe faith-based or maybe at a senior center or something like that, then we're there to help. We are not the content experts on that, but we will put you in touch with them. We have this great database of programs that we've vetted and we know are great examples of how to get started. And if you have questions about, do I need licensing? Do I need insurance? Do I need, how do I train my volunteers? Then we can connect you with the right people to get that started. And then we also, once a year, we offer grants for startup or expansion of community respite programs. So if you're wanting to use that as scholarship for individuals to come in who may not be able to pay the daily rate for that service, or if you just want to use it for supplies, or if you need to literally do a building expansion or something like that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, then we have grant funds available, and that's every January.
So especially for churches, that would be a wonderful ministry for the churches out there, I think, to provide respite, extra respite, for people in their communities. And so how is, right before we leave to go to break, tell us right quick, how is Alabama Lifespan Respite funded? We
are primarily funded by federal grants through the Administration on Community Living. Okay. And then it's supplemented through the state of Alabama, an appropriation through legislation that we received in 2009, because we have been appointed as the lead entity for respite in the state of Alabama. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, so call your legislatures. That's right. Especially for our program, because the Older Americans Act needs to be refunded. Part of ACL. Please. Yes. Call your legislators, all your senators, your representatives. Call everybody. That's why we vote for them, right? And tell them that they need to put more money into, like, the Alabama Cares program for the Older Americans Act, and for yours as well, especially if you're funded partially through the state. I mean, please do that. Please do. Your voice matters. We always say that. Yes, it does. I mean, people say, oh, well, if I call, but hey, if they have 200 people calling on the same day, I promise you they're going to take note about it. That's right. So we're going to take a break right quick and get a word from our supporters. Again, you're watching WEAC TV 24 Rise and Shine with Alabama Cares program. Don't go anywhere. Listen to me. I'm getting all tongue-tied on this hot Friday. We will be right back, everyone.
On average, a tow truck operator is killed every 6 days in the United States. A tragic, yet preventable event. The fact is, most people don't know what it's like being a tow truck operator. The dangers that occur while servicing a roadside vehicle are real. However, you can make a difference to help lower this statistic and save lives by simply slowing down and moving over. This simple task can prevent an unnecessary death and allow workers to make it home to the families waiting for them. After all, it's the law in all 50 states, for good reason. Do your part so they can live another day and be there for you when you need them. Move over. Their lives don't belong to you.
Backus Bibles and Books is dedicated to providing churches as well as individuals with products and services geared towards strengthening every relationship with Christ. We specialize in Bibles, Bible imprints, Bible restoration, church supplies, home decor, gifts, and apparel. Call us at 256-201-1202 or visit us Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 1100 Highway Drive in Oxford, Alabama. We look forward to serving you, equipping the people of God to expand the kingdom of God.
I want to live. The leading cause of death of young Americans like me is gun violence, and oftentimes tied to substance misuse. NBA, NFL, NCAA. Most of you look like me, and our communities need you now more than ever. Let's make I Want to Live more than just a hashtag. Let's make it a movement. I am a baller against bullets.
Welcome back, everyone. You are watching Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program, and I am Ellen Tibbetts Hurst, and I am here with Miss Tracy from UCP Huntsville with the Alabama Lifespan Respite program. And Tracy, I can't tell all my secrets, so I don't tell everybody before they come to the show, but it is Friday, so we all have to do the Fry-yay dance is what I always say. So you have to, yay. Oh, she did it. She did it. We've had a few folks that are like, no, I'm out, you know. But so thanks for being a good sport. But hey, it is Friday and it's hot. You guys need to stay cool out there and make sure that you hydrate too. So we were talking about how you are funded and everything, and during the break we were talking about how vital it is, the funding. And guys out there that have been keeping up with my show and keeping up with all the things that we do, the programs were designed to help those that fall between the cracks. I mean, so the people that make too much money that they can't qualify for Medicaid waiver programs, and then they make too much, you know, they make too much money for that, but they don't have enough money to actually hire somebody full time to stay with their, to stay with their loved ones. Well, the programs were designed for specifically for those people that fell between the cracks. And guess what? If they're not funded again, they're going to fall between the cracks. Yeah. So if you're one of those, you're going to fall between the cracks because it's not funded. That's why it's so important, and that's why we can't stress enough for you to call your legislators, to call the senators and call the representatives. I mean, bombard their phones, bombard their emails and say, this is important. I mean, just because, you know, you're a caregiver, just because you're a senior, just because all these, you still matter. You're, like you said, your voice matters. Yeah. You know, these programs, I mean, insurance doesn't cover everything. Yeah. And I wish it did. Wouldn't it be nice if insurance covered everything? But it doesn't. So that's why it's so important. But going back to Alabama Lifespan Respite, so, you know, you know, we're talking about advocating for money and everything. So how do you guys advocate for increased respite services and support for family caregivers statewide?
So we are part of the ARCH National Lifespan Respite Initiative, and they give us great tools and education to be able to know how to approach our legislators and approach our congressmen and let them know how important respite is and what a value caregivers are to our economy and our society as a whole. But we also have the Alabama Lifespan Respite Coalition, and that legislation I mentioned earlier where we got the state appropriation for funds. When that happened, the governor appointed individuals from 26 different agencies across the state to come together and figure out how to help caregivers collectively. So it's for legislators, and then Medicaid, ADSS, Department of Mental Health, all of these services come together and they say, where are the gaps? What do we need to be doing? How can we get more funds?
Services.
Exactly.
Let's fill all those gaps.
Yes, let's collaborate. Let's work together and see what we can come up with. And they have done 2 white papers over the years to present to our legislators, and that has increased the funding. When we first were funded, we received about $100,000 from the Alabama legislature and from the Alabama Department of Education Trust Fund is where those dollars come from. And with the help of the coalition, it's increased to $315,000 a year.
That's wonderful.
So all that money goes directly to the caregivers.
And you know, I've heard some of our, I guess our people in politics, let's just say, oh, well, you know, it's the family's job to take care of that person. And I agree. I'm not going to disagree at all. Yeah. But that's in a perfect world. Yes. Unfortunately, we do not live in a perfect world. Unfortunately, all our caregivers, they don't have the funds. They don't have people in their lives. You know, you have some caregivers, like, you know, your couples that never had children. Yeah. You have some that their children live across the other side of the the United States or in another country because they're military or what have you, and they have jobs and lives and all that. And so, there's so many factors, so many different things that factor into that. Sometimes it's not always conducive to say, well, the family can take care of them because that's we don't live in a perfect world, so that can't happen all the time.
No, and when you've sold the house and liquidated all of the assets and the funds run out and you're dependent on Medicaid, there's not enough Medicaid beds to take in every person, and there's not enough workers to be in long-term care facilities for them.
And as a caregiver too, I was a caregiver working because my car payment, my insurance, and my power bill. They didn't understand that I had to be a caregiver. They didn't care. They wanted me to pay that bill. So it's a lot. It's a lot, and this is not, I guess, an entitlement program per se. A lot of people get that confused. It's not at all. We don't feel like you're entitled. It's that you need this. You are a caregiver, and you need that. You need that break, and you need that support, and you need that education, and you need somebody to be there to empower you, to lift you up and say, we care. We're here for you, and we're going to give you a break.
That's right.
So how does a caregiver contact Alabama Lifespan Respite?
Well, you can always call us. We're there Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, or you can visit us online at your convenience at alabamaRespite.org. And we have a lot of caregiver resources there online. We have, like I said, you can apply for respite there. You can see all of our education classes that I talked about, all of our, we call them trainings. They're recorded. They're there on our education page, and they're also available on YouTube, Alabama Respite. And then we also have a host of resources. You were talking about, where do you go and what do you do? We have a great page on there that lists things by state and by national resources for caregivers.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So there's about 150 different resources on that page.
Right, that's great. And then we also have, we have a monthly event that happens every month, Community Health Series in Oxford, and every month that we have our event, we also have somebody that represents Alabama Lifespan Respite. So if you come to one of our events, there's always a booth there, a table there from Alabama Lifespan Respite. So if you have questions, they're there to ask, answer all your questions as well. And speaking of the Community Health Series, this month, don't miss it. Like I said, every month we have different subjects, but look at this month. This month is August 19th from 10 to 12 at the Oxford Civic Center. We have the CEO, Carl Bates, president from the Better Business Bureau, and guys, he's going to talk to us about all things scams, fraud, and identity theft.
That's great.
Yes, and he's wonderful. I don't know if he's been at one of our events before, but guys, he always brings the latest scams, the latest frauds, like all the, he tells you all the latest things that's going on. So it's a free event, and I cannot express enough how important it is to come, because you do not have to make an appointment to have a consultation with him. You can ask questions, all those good things, and we have vendors set up. Like I said, we have usually we have a Lifespan Respite person that's there as well. But we also have free door prizes. I mean, where else are you going to get? And they have our vendors have awesome door prizes. By the way, they're wonderful. This past month, it's just July. It's August 1st. I'm getting confused. June, July. So July we had kids and grandparents and Parents Day, and that went wonderful. We had a police officer talk about family safety. We had the Anniston Museum and Gardens come and talk. They even brought Iris, the red-tailed hawk, and Mushu, their boa, their boa snake. So, and then we had kids there and everything. It was great. It was great. So it's always a good time, but it's always great. Just make sure that you share that with everybody, because we're all about educating and giving resources. Like I said, there will be an Alabama Lifespan Respite, or there should be. She's there pretty much every month. But any good stories that you can, is there one story that sticks out to you more so than others that you can tell them about?
Honestly, it's with one of our robotic pets. Do y'all use those?
Yes, we do those too.
Yeah, we have robotic pets available for our caregivers who have loved ones with Alzheimer's disease or related dementias. And one of the ladies that we sent one to, she called and she said, my mother hasn't talked in 2 years. And she said, and I got that little dog and gave it to her in her bed. And she said she started calling it Baby Boy. And that was her doggy's name when she was a little girl. And she said it's the first time I'd heard her talk in 2 years.
And we have a similar story to that. We actually, when we go to a home of someone that has dementia, you have to be on our program to receive one. So, but we actually had a gentleman, I think his wife hadn't spoken in like 9 months, 8 or 9 months, something like that. And when we gave it to, because we don't bring it in the box, we just give it to him like it's, you know, it's like, oh, what are you going to name it? She grabbed that thing out of my hand and was like, oh, baby, and started talking, you know, and we all cried.
Yeah.
It was, tears of happiness. I mean, well, I think we had an intern with us too. I think she even cried. I mean, but it's such wonderful stories that you can help people. And we had a gentleman from Tallapoosa County he's one of the ones I love him. If you're watching, you're awesome. You know who you are. He said that he loved having the worker because he said, my dad is sick and tired of talking to me. I can tell this because I just know he is. He said, and then sometimes they talk to the caregiver and say things that they wouldn't talk to the family about. So he learned a lot about his dad and the things that he was going through, and the things that, even though he had dementia, things that he was scared about, and things that he wasn't open to his son. Maybe he didn't recognize his son sometimes, or whatever, but related to a lady more so, and felt more comfortable talking to her. So it's just the little things, right?
It is. It really is. But anything we can do to help, we're glad to do. And if you don't know what you need, give us a call. Maybe we can help you figure it out.
Yeah, that's right. Help figure it out. So, Alabama Lifespan Respite is it just I guess that Alabama Lifespan Respite is for Alabama. Yeah. But are there similar programs in other states?
Yeah, there are a lot. We hosted the National Lifespan Respite Conference in Huntsville earlier this year, and we had respite programs from 30 some odd states and 2 different countries there. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, and a lot of them are administered through state programs through like their Department of Senior Services. So the ones that are subcontracted with nonprofits like us are more rare, but they do exist. And so it's neat to learn how everybody does it differently.
Yes, because everybody all over the world needs respite. Yeah. Because there's caregivers all over the world. I mean, that's why I was just curious as to see if our surrounding states, especially because I mean, even though we're in Alabama, sometimes I do get, that question here and there if a caregiver's here visiting, and they live in Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, somewhere around there, and they'll say, well, do you know if they have this? And, and with our program, we're the National Family Caregivers Program. Alabama just calls theirs Alabama Cares. CARE stands for Caregiving, Assistance, Resources, Education, and Services, in case you didn't know. But yeah, the CARES program is, maybe it's not called CARES, but it is the National Caregivers Program, and it is nationwide. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it really is. And the Lifespan Respite grants through ACL, the Administration of Community Living, they're available to every state. And some programs have gotten started and fell off and have come back again, but we're glad to say we've been going strong for 25 years and hope to keep going.
Yeah, let's hope that more people out there realize that they need care, need a break, need respite care, right?
Yes.
So anything you want to leave our audience with before we wrap it up today?
Oh, I just want to thank you again for letting me come and
Thank
share.
you for coming.
Yeah, I appreciate it so much. And like I said, if you're a caregiver, if you know a caregiver, if you're interested in becoming a respite provider, we even have training available to anyone who's interested in helping a friend, a neighbor, a family member by providing respite free, 8 hours of training available. So visit us online, give us a call.
Because you guys have events too, where sometimes like you come to the trainings and you get free hours.
You do.
So that's something to think about too. So when you call them at that number that you see on the screen right now, or go online, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can ask about. That's really neat.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you so very much. And we bring people like wonderful folks like Miss Tracy to our program every Friday to help you guys to learn about things that are available, resources and education out there to help you. So please take advantage of it and make sure that you call call or go online and learn more about it or what have you. And don't forget our event, August 19th, in 18 days. We're going to have our event at the Osprey Civic Center, 10 to 12. Free. Carl Bates talking about fraud, scams, and identity theft. There it is. So we're going to have that. So make sure you come. Vendors will be there. We have door prizes and all the good things. Please make sure that you guys stay cool and stay hydrated, and hope you have a most wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week.